Racing, racing, riding, riding, big wheels.
Big wheels are a-rolling with big fat wheels in back.
Growing up in the 1970s was an unparalleled experience. It was a decade brimming with unique moments, from bold fashion choices to memorable toys and classic TV shows that truly defined a generation. Come along as we look at 50 things that only those who lived through the 70s will remember. 1. The Easy Bake Oven. Nothing made a kid in the 1970s feel more accomplished than baking their own miniature cakes and cookies with the Easy Bake Oven. The genius was in its simplicity. It used a standard light bulb to cook the treats. Kids would carefully mix the batter from a packet, slide the tiny pan into the oven, and wait with anticipation as the little bulb worked its magic. While the finished products often had a unique flavor, the thrill of making their own dessert made every bite worthwhile. 2. Feathered hair. Farrah Fawcett's feathered hair was the ultimate style benchmark in the 1970s. Whether you were headed to schoolwork or a night out, everyone aimed to get those soft, perfectly flipped out waves. Achieving the look often meant spending hours with a blow dryer, a round brush, and generous amounts of hairspray. This style also became a popular choice for boys of the era, who sported longer hair with a subtle feathered look. 3. Clackers. Clackers were a deceptively simple toy. 2 acrylic balls attached to a string. The goal was to swing them up and down, making them smack together with a loud, satisfying sound. The faster you went, the louder the clacking, and the higher the risk of bruised hands. Clackers were thrilling, but also a bit dangerous, and they were even banned in some places. Still, for 70s kids, they were a rite of passage, testing both patience and coordination. 4. Schoolhouse Rock. Who knew learning could be so catchy? Schoolhouse Rock aired on Saturday mornings between cartoons, teaching kids about everything from grammar, conjunction junction, what's your function, to math, 3 is a magic number. The animated shorts were so engaging that kids often didn't even realize they were learning. The catchy tunes stuck with you long after the TV was off, and their educational magic remains unforgettable decades later. 5. Bell-bottom jeans. Bell-bottoms weren't just a type of pants, they were a symbol. These jeans, with legs that were tight at the knee and flared out dramatically, were a universal sight in the 1970s. Paired with platform shoes, tie-dye shirts, or even fringed vests, they represented individuality and rebellion. By the end of the decade, they had become so iconic that they still instantly scream 1970s in any photograph. 6. The Electric Company. Before cable TV brought educational programming to every home, The Electric Company was a must-watch on PBS. Aimed at kids slightly older than the Sesame Street audience, the show featured catchy songs, funny skits, and a cast that included a young Morgan Freeman. Its playful way of teaching reading and grammar made it a hit with both kids and parents, and its funky 70s aesthetic made learning feel cool. 7. CB radios. Before the age of cell phones and the internet, CB Citizens band radios were the go-to way to communicate, especially on the road. Spurred by movies like Smokey and the Bandit, CB radios became a cultural craze. Everyone had their own handle or nickname, and phrases like 10-4 good buddy and breaker breaker became part of everyday language. Kids loved pretending to be truckers, and even families would tune in just for fun. 8. Trapper Keepers. The Trapper Keeper was the ultimate school supply. With its bold, colorful designs, sturdy Velcro closure, and multiple pockets for organization, it made kids feel like they had their school life completely together. Although they became more famous in the 1980s, their late 70s debut set the stage for decades of academic organization. Owning one was more than practical, it was a status symbol. 9. Pet Rocks. In a world without smartphones or TikTok, the Pet Rock somehow became a national sensation. Marketed as the perfect low-maintenance pet, each rock was sold in a small cardboard box with breathing holes and a care manual. What started as a joke quickly became a craze that swept the country in 1975. It's a perfect example of how something as simple and silly as a rock could become a cultural phenomenon in the 70s. 10. The Fisher-Price Chatter Telephone. This classic toy introduced countless toddlers to the idea of using a phone. With its friendly smiling face, a spinning rotary dial that made a ringing sound, and a string for pulling it around the chatter telephone was a staple of 1970s childhoods. Even though it wasn't a real phone, kids loved pretending to make important calls. Decades later, its cheerful design remains one of Fisher-Price's most beloved creations. 11. Rotary telephones. If you wanted to call someone in the 1970s, you needed patience and a rotary telephone. You had to turn a wheel for each digit and wait for it to spin back. If you messed up the last number, you had to start all over again. These phones were solid and built to last, often in classic colors like avocado green or mustard yellow. While they seem slow today, the unique clicking sound of dialing remains a defining sound of the era. 12. Leetbreet. This glowing art maker was a source of pure joy for kids in the 70s. You would place a sheet of black paper over the screen, insert small colored plastic pegs, and watch your design light up. Whether it was a pre-made template or a creation of your own, it felt magical. The bright, mesmerizing lights kept kids entertained for hours, even if stepping on a stray peg with bare feet was an unforgettable pain. 13. Metal lunchboxes. Bringing a metal lunchbox to school was about more than just your food. It was about showing off your personality. These sturdy boxes were decorated with characters from shows like Star Wars or The $6 Million Man. A matching thermos inside kept your drink warm or cold, and you felt invincible walking into the cafeteria with your favorite design. While they've been replaced by softer options, these boxes are still highly sought after by collectors today. 14. Mood rings. Mood rings were the ultimate 70s accessory. Marketed as a way to show your emotions, these rings changed color based on temperature, which supposedly reflected your mood. From blue for calm to amber for nervous, every kid was fascinated by the shifting colors. It didn't matter whether the moods were accurate, it was all about the mystery and fun of wearing one. 15. The overhead projector. In 1970s classrooms, the overhead projector was a king. Teachers would write or draw on transparent sheets and project the images onto the chalkboard. Whether it was math problems or maps, students would watch in awe as the simple light bulb brought lessons to life. Of course, the real highlight was when the teacher let you go up and write on the transparency yourself. 16. Disco balls. No 70s party was truly complete without a disco ball. Hanging from the ceiling, it cast sparkling scattered light as it slowly spun, turning any room into a mini dance club. Whether you were dancing to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack or just enjoying the colorful reflections, the disco ball was an iconic symbol of the decade's nightlife and fun-loving attitude. 17. The smell of fresh Ditto copies. Before photocopiers were common, teachers used Ditto machines to make copies. These sheets printed with purple ink had a distinct chemical smell that kids loved, even though they weren't supposed to sniff them. When a fresh stack of Dittos landed on your desk, it meant something fun, like a pop quiz or a coloring activity, was about to happen. That scent became a quirky yet unforgettable part of classroom life in the 70s. 18. Dodgeball. Gym class in the 70s often meant one thing: dodgeball. With hard rubber balls flying across the room, the game was a mix of adrenaline skill and occasional terror. Getting hit in the face stung, but it was all part of the fun. There were no foam balls or extra safety measures, just the pure thrill of dodging and the satisfaction of taking out your opponent with a well-aimed throw. 19. Stretch Armstrong. Stretch Armstrong was the toy every kid wanted. This rubbery action figure could be pulled, twisted, and stretched to outrageous lengths before snapping back into his original shape. Kids would team up to see how far they could stretch him, sometimes going too far and causing the mysterious goo inside to leak out. Despite his fragile nature, Stretch Armstrong became a lasting symbol of 1970s toy innovation. 20. Waterbeds. In the 1970s, owning a waterbed was a bold statement. These beds, filled with water instead of springs or foam, promised a unique floating sleep experience. While they were undeniably cool, they were also notorious for leaks and being incredibly difficult to move. Still, for many, waterbeds represented the height of groovy bedroom trends, often paired with shag carpeting and lava lamps. 21st Saturday morning cartoons. The 1970s were the golden age of Saturday morning cartoons. Kids would wake up early, grab a bowl of sugary cereal, and settle in front of the TV for hours of animated adventures. Shows like Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The Jetsons and Super Friends dominated the lineup. It was a weekly routine that turned Saturday mornings into a sacred, magical time, and parents knew better than to interrupt. 22. Atari Pong. Before video game consoles were in every home, there was Pong. This simple two-player video game simulated table tennis with a bouncing square ball and two paddle-like lines. Released in the early 70s, it introduced millions to the thrill of playing games on a screen. The excitement of controlling that little dot back and forth felt groundbreaking, even if it seems laughably simple today. 23. Milk in glass bottles. Whether delivered to your front door or served at school, milk in glass bottles was a 1970s staple. These reusable bottles, often sealed with a paper or foil cap, made a satisfying clinking sound. At school, kids drank from small glass bottles, and at home, many remember the sound of the milkman's truck as he made his daily rounds. 24. Earth shoes. Earth shoes were a huge trend in the 1970s due to their unique negative heel design, which promised better posture and health benefits. They had a quirky look with the heel sitting lower than the toe, but that didn't stop them from becoming a major fashion statement. While they've mostly disappeared from closets today, anyone who wore them remembers their distinctive charm and maybe the slight backache they caused. 25. Happy Days. This hit TV show took viewers back to the 1950s, but became a defining part of the 1970s. With Richie Cunningham, his wholesome family, and the effortlessly cool Fonzie, Happy Days was a cultural phenomenon. It did more than just entertain. It influenced everything from fashion to catchphrases, and even spawned popular spin-offs like Laverne and Shirley. 26. Big Wheels. The ultimate ride for a kid in the 1970s was a big wheel. These low-to-the-ground tricycles with an oversized front wheel were perfect for racing down sidewalks and driveways. Kids loved performing dramatic spins with the handbrake, which was the closest they could get to being a race car driver. For many, the sight of a bright plastic big wheel is a direct trip back to childhood. 27. Beanbag chairs. A 1970s living room or bedroom wasn't complete without a beanbag chair. These large, squishy sacks were the perfect cozy spot to lounge, watch TV, or read. They came in bright, funky colors that perfectly matched the era's psychedelic aesthetic. Even if they occasionally leaked tiny beads, they were a key part of relaxed 70s decor. 28. 8-track tapes. Before cassettes and CDs, there were 8 tracks. These bulky plastic cartridges brought music on the go. Whether you were listening to Fleetwood Mac in your car or rocking out to Elton John on your home player, 8 tracks were everywhere in the 70s. They weren't perfect songs often cut off mid-track, but they paved the way for the portable music we have today. 29. Polaroid cameras. Instant photography was a revolution in the 1970s, and Polaroid cameras made it happen. You'd snap a photo, wait a minute, and watch as the image slowly appeared. It was perfect for capturing family vacations parties or funny, unplanned moments. The chunky cameras and glossy prints became a symbol of the decade, and Polaroids still evoke a sense of immediate nostalgia. 30. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? This classic cartoon followed a group of mystery-solving teens and their beloved Great Dane, Scooby-Doo. With its spooky settings, memorable villains, and iconic catchphrases, Roo-Row, Raggy, the show was a Saturday morning favorite. The Mystery Machine Scooby snacks and the satisfying reveal of the bad guy at the end made it timeless for anyone who grew up in the 70s. 31. Vinyl records. In the 1970s, Vinyl records were more than just a way to listen to music, they were an entire experience. From flipping through albums at the record store to carefully placing the needle on the turntable, every step was a ritual. The soft crackle of the record starting up and the large, colorful album covers were just as memorable as the music itself. Whether it was Fleetwood Mac, Led Zeppelin, or ABBA, vinyl truly ruled the decade. 32. The Brady Bunch. Blended families everywhere saw themselves in the Brady Bunch. With 6 kids, a wise housekeeper, and 2 endlessly patient parents, the show was a mix of humor, wholesome lessons, and quirky situations. From the classic opening theme song to Marsha's famous "Oh My Nose" moment, the show captured the heart of a generation. 33. Spirograph. The Spirograph was the ultimate creative toy for 70s kids. Using plastic gears and colored pens, you could create detailed geometric patterns that looked like magic. It wasn't just fun, it felt artistic. Kids would spend hours creating colorful spirals and proudly showing them off, making it a must-have for any young artist. 34. Platform shoes. Platform shoes weren't just footwear, they were a statement. Whether you wore them to the disco or out on the street, these towering shoes added inches to your height and style to your outfit. From glittery designs to bold colors, platforms were the perfect match for bell-bottoms and jumpsuits. Just walking in them without falling over was an accomplishment in itself. 35. Macrame. Macrame was everywhere in the 1970s. This intricate knotting art was a staple of home decor, used for everything from plant hangers to wall hangings. It brought a bohemian vibe to living rooms and bedrooms, often paired with shag carpets and earthy tones. DIY kits made it easy for anyone to get into the macrame trend, and many people did. 36. The Partridge Family. This musical TV family won the hearts of viewers in the 1970s. Traveling in their colorful, patchwork-painted bus, they performed catchy songs like "I Think I Love You" while navigating everyday family life. David Cassidy became a teen idol, and Shirley Jones's motherly charm made the show a lasting classic. 37. Charlie's Angels. This glamorous trio of crime-fighting women defined girl power in the 1970s. Whether it was Farrah Fawcett's iconic feathered hair or the Angels' ability to solve mysteries in style, the show was a pop culture sensation. With a mix of action, intrigue, and fashion, Charlie's Angels inspired countless kids to play detective. 38. Film strips in classrooms. In the 1970s, classrooms' film strips were the height of educational technology. Teachers would load the projector, dim the lights, and click through a series of still images, while a narrator explained the topic. The familiar beep told you when to advance to the next frame. While they may seem low-tech today, watching film strips felt exciting back then. 39. The Muppet Show. The Muppet Show brought Jim Henson's beloved puppets into prime time. Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, and the rest of the gang entertained audiences with a mix of comedy music and special guests. Whether you were laughing at the heckling of Statler and Waldorf or humming along to Mana Mana, the show was pure joy. 40. Clocks with flip numbers. In the 1970s, flip clocks were a futuristic addition to any bedside table. Instead of hands, these clocks had mechanical flaps that flipped over to show the time. The soft, satisfying click as the numbers changed was a unique sound, and their sleek, modern look made them a favorite of the era's design trends. 41. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. These plastic battling robots were a 1970s must-have. Kids would spend hours controlling the red and blue fighters, trying to knock each other's block off, literally. The satisfying pop when you landed a punch and sent your opponent's head flying up was the ultimate victory. Simple, but endlessly entertaining, these robots were a staple of family game nights. 42. Black and white TVs. While color TVs were becoming more common, many households in the 1970s still had a trusty black and white set. Watching shows like The Andy Griffith Show or old movie reruns in grayscale had a certain charm. Adjusting the antenna or fiddling with the dials to get a clearer picture was part of the experience. They may seem ancient now, but these TVS held a special place in living rooms everywhere. 43. Tube tops. Tube tops were a summer staple in the 1970s. These stretchy, strapless tops were bold fun and perfect for staying cool. They came in bright colors and patterns, often paired with high-waisted shorts or bell-bottoms. While they took a bit of confidence to wear, they captured the carefree spirit of the decade. 45. Scooby snacks. Inspired by the classic cartoon Scooby snacks weren't just for dogs. They became a real-life snack for kids, too. Whether you tried a box of the graham cracker versions or simply loved imagining what Scooby and Shaggy were eating, these treats were a quirky part of childhood in the 70s. And yes, many kids even tried dog biscuits just to see what all the fuss was about. 46. Handwritten notes. Before texting and email, kids passed handwritten notes in class. Folded into intricate shapes, these notes carried everything from secret crushes to inside jokes. The art of passing a note without getting caught by the teacher was a skill, and receiving one was always exciting, making you feel like you were part of a secret world. 47. Lava lamps. Lava lamps were the epitome of groovy 70s decor. Colorful blobs of wax floating in a liquid-filled glass tube created a mesmerizing effect, perfect for bedrooms and living rooms. These psychedelic lamps added to the ambiance and were a staple of the era's funky aesthetic. Watching the lava rise and fall was strangely hypnotic. 49. Petroleum jelly as lip gloss. Before fancy lip balms and glosses were widely available, many kids turned to petroleum jelly. It was shiny, easy to find in the medicine cabinet, and felt luxurious to apply. Often smeared on in generous amounts, it became a budget-friendly beauty hack for the 70s generation. Plus, it worked double duty for dry skin, making it both practical and glamorous.